Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to another exciting race here in our continuing coverage of the Cross-World Key Sanity 2021 tournament. Joining me here in the booth is the amazing Ampharos, as well as Drosy1. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to these guys and get our racers started. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some amazing Crosskeys.
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good one coming up tonight. We have Pikapals, who's a very long-time veteran Crosskeys player, racing against Locklen, a player the name's somewhat familiar. I don't know him as well as Pikapals, but he had a pretty definitive win in week 1, so I'm expecting some pretty high-tier gameplay from both of these players.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, Lock won by something like 20 minutes or something last week.
It was about 15, but I mean, he pulled a 2:14, and you know that's a pretty respectable time, especially because just looking at his opponent's time, etc. I'm gonna guess the seed wasn't even that nice. He just played it well.
Oh, I'm sure. I just don't know that much about him, and like you, I know more about Pikapals, who has been on the scene in both Crosskeys and other modes for quite a while now.
But yeah, both these players, I'm expecting some pretty high-quality gameplay, and we immediately get to see their preference of start. They're both of the Link's House kind of guys, slightly but not significantly rewarded with a skull key to start their day.
Well, that can certainly help their routing a bit in terms of just being able to do whatever drop-down once they get to Skullwoods, but that's probably a little ways off.
The interesting thing is, I think the most common starter in the community starting from Link's House is the Potion Shop Fake Flipper, but neither go with this. Pikapals goes with what I would consider a very steady route of going straight for these bomb bushes and into CAC. It's the most reliable way to always have bombs at the start of his seed, but you do end up spending some time going through some dead screens, is somewhat to the downside. Whereas Locklen is going straight for the castle opener. It sets you up for some tree pulls, and you get to check some areas that are frankly out of the way otherwise. So pretty good. You see a lot of decent players do it.
And Locke didn't even want that heart container. I would have thought this early in the game he'd go to circle around to the uncle drop because, you know, you don't have much health and you're trying to explore the world.
I really respect that decision because it's just a long walk around on the uncle. It's honestly a lot of why I usually put off the uncle, just because I want to be able to blind drop it just so I don't see something and have to walk back for it. So just a heart container, yeah, gotta go fast, right?
Yeah. And we've also learned that Sanctuary is at Lumberjack location today, which means that if we want to get the chests in the back of Escape, we're gonna have to get the key and go through the front of Escape, because I don't think these runners want to beat Aga just to check 3 chests.
Yeah, speaking of Aga, we actually saw a Castle Tower on Pikapal's side, while Locklen, on the other hand, found a very convenient 20 rupee spitting rupee crab. That'll really get you started in a hurry. Zora money, not a problem. You can buy bombs, the bottle vendor. It helps you more than you would intuitively think.
And Pikapals, on the other hand, has found the dam, which did max out his bomb supply. And he's just going to pull it now so that when he finds Swamp, it'll be ready to go.
Yeah, that, and of course, he's inevitably going to want to route the south at some point, and just that drain dam item being there when you go. Those little efficiencies are ultimately what win you the day in Crosskeys. You'll probably check everything once, but at least try not to check everything twice.
Hey, the potion shop's in CAC. That's a nice place to find it. Easy to get back to if you need to fill a bottle.
And on the other side, I think we should comment on the fact that Locklen found Eastern in the Lost Woods and chose to go straight in, going for the chest. It's become kind of a little meme in the community of always going to Eastern, never going to Eastern. And while memes aren't a great thing to inform your decisions, it's definitely not that straightforward what you decide here. But Locklen making the dive, getting a red meringue.
Hey, and without any other weapons, at least we can stun enemies now.
Yeah, we've already seen the 20 rupee crab that somewhat reduces the value of fishing for stun prizes, but it certainly helps you just stay safe. And there's all sorts of just little situations. Boomerangs are nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to be farming stun prizes, but when you're in a room full of enemies, it's kind of nice to stun them and walk over them, especially when you're still on 3 hearts, as we discussed about Locke not getting...
Hey, if you have to quick swap to something to hit a crystal switch, I actually think red boomerang takes the fewest number of frames. Gotta go fast.
And Pikapals is coming up nothing but bombs here.
Well, it's not all bad to find a bunch of bombs, because you need a lot of them in the early game, but certainly not finding a lot of dense, interesting entrances in CAC tends to lead to a little bit of a spicier seed, because once you move outside of CAC, you often find entrances that have a lot more requirements. And if a lot of your dungeons and multi-item caves are in those entrances, things just get a little spicier.
And we see Uncle Tunnel at Magic Bat, and Locke is taking a Death Warp out of Eastern. Ooh, Uncle gives us the Bug Net. But yeah, the red meringue was really the only thing we found there.
Yeah, chat was sure to point out we got a TR small. It was our first one, so it has some value, but I doubt either runner's going to be exactly thrilled with the Turtle Rock small key.
Ooh, and Locklen managed to make that bush crab stick around long enough that we saw its 7th prize, which was a full magic fill.
Yeah, Locklen already had full magic, so that won't do a lot for him, but it could certainly help Pikapals out when he inevitably will discover that pretty shortly. Whereas, on the other hand, Pikapals is being forced to skip the bottle vendor because he doesn't have the money. So this sort of north to south instead of south to north could give Locklen just a little bit of an early game time advantage. Until he finds the well with no bombs, of course.
Yeah, I was about to say Locklen's having to skip that check, so we'll see how they handle it. Ooh, here's King's Tomb. But yeah, we haven't really found anything that interesting. I mean, Locklen's got that bottle, but we don't yet know where Sick Kid is.
Clearly, we just need to combine Locklen's bottle and Pikapal's bug net, and we can have fairies for days. Man, I think all the enemies we could kill with the bees. Like,
there we go.
Mini Moldorm Cave, always an exciting early find. You can be a little bit of a struggle with bombs, but you see Pikapals handle it pretty expertly.
But again, Locklen had to back right out because he didn't have a weapon. I didn't see what that was a key to on Pikapal's side.
Well, our trackers seem to believe... Well, never mind, I misread. I have no clue what that key was. I think the stream lagged. I saw the castle small. There was another one before it. He got 2 keys from Mini Moldorm Cave, right?
Yeah, the 2nd and 4th items.
Well, we'll learn what the other key was whenever Locklen gets any sort of weapon to clear Mini Moldorm Cave.
And Bottle Vendor is a take half your money deal today.
Yeah, Bottle Vendor runs the light version of the money laundering operation. He's trying to learn from his boss, King Zora, but he just hasn't quite gotten the technique all the way down yet.
And we're going to learn from Pikapals now what that item in the back of the well was.
Now, you might intuitively think that compass of frame drop is not that important, but the reality is it's nearly inevitable Locklen will go back and check it anyway, so he kind of loses the time for not having the bombs regardless.
Yeah, it would be surprising if he didn't want to check it. Ooh, and that's our Tier 2 tree pull. Also a lot of big 20s. We saw earlier that the Tier 1 tree pull is small magic.
Yeah, I didn't see if Pikapals had taken damage for which of the two 4-kill tree pulls that was, but with the rupee crabs pooping out 20s like crazy, I really don't see Pikapals going for that tree pull again.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Locklen still doesn't have any bombs. I think there were 3 here in the back of Tavern, though.
No, if he just continues to the dam, he's gonna find the 10-pack. The only real inconvenience is he's going to find that dam in the southern area here, and then he's going to have to go all the way back up to Mini Moldorm Cave. So just a little extra walking being inflicted on Locklen here.
Well, there's the all-important Lagamarang for Pikapals as well now. Wonder when we'll see an actual weapon, though.
I don't know. Probably in about 70, 80 minutes.
Probably. Before or after the Moon Pearl?
Probably about the same time. But I mean, earlier, do you consider the blue cane a weapon? I'm sure we'll find
an escape, right?
Things we can't use because we don't have swords. Well, you know, Crosskeys does things like this. Oh man, that's a nice little discovery for the long term. Stun prize is a bomb.
That is definitely a good stun prize to have. I mean, the seed is giving us no shortage of bombs, and it's kind of unfortunate that Locklen hadn't gotten any to that point, but it looks like he's filling up here, so maybe he'll go back and do Mini Moldorm Cave before too long.
It's kind of unfortunate, the curse of knowledge here, that we know if he just continued to the dam, he would get his bombs faster than what he's doing here, but like with what he's seen, I think this is a smart decision.
I absolutely agree. I mean, you farm when you can. You don't know what is in places you haven't checked.
And, like, you feel you have a lot of pressure to get bombs just right away because you really want to clear Mini Moldorm Cave right now. And after you're done, still have enough bombs to do whatever business you need in the more remote corners of Light World. Oh man, it's a terrible feeling. Well, there's a couple terrible feelings here. The terrible feeling on Locklen's side to find the tin bomb in the dam immediately after farming, or the terrible feeling on Pikapal's side to walk into the front door of Sanctuary.
Yeah, I don't know how often I've seen that in Crosskeys.
Good feeling. It's just a little thing that entrance Pikapals checked, Locklen checked it earlier. That was the exit of the Spectacle Rock connector. That's so nice to see because that is a slow, annoying connector that you now know whenever you find it, you can just ignore it.
Oh yeah, Pikapals had never done Bottle Vendor. I was trying to figure out why he was back in CAC, while Locklen is now going back to do Mini Moldorm Cave.
But yeah, at this point, I think Pikapals has done... Well, he hasn't been to the castle yet. We know there's nothing there, but he just hasn't done the check. Otherwise, I think Pikapals is open to... Obviously, very small 13 minutes in. Little bit of an exploration lead just from a little bit more efficient route in the early game.
Which is kind of funny because I would have said Locklen's routing seemed better. Okay, and that's first small T was GT. There we go. So Pikapals has that key as well.
Yeah, first GT key, it's kind of nice. It's not that thrilling, but...
Better than your fourth GT key.
Your fourth GT key is informative, more so than helpful.
Yeah, so I guess it tells you what's in logic. Oh, and Pikapals just found our second bottle, and that one actually came with green goo.
I'm always really happy to find a bottle with potion early, just because if you bump into Palace of Darkness, you can just potion glitch for those two chests in the front. And it's not really an uncommon scenario at all.
Though I have no idea whether these runners know Mimic Clip, though potion glitch is faster regardless. Oh, and despite all those big 20s, Pikapals is gonna be farming rupees while he's in this Thieves' Den.
Pikapals did some... I do this sort of thing very frequently myself. He walked in, he saw the rupee farm cave, in a spot he'd save and quit anyway. He just grabbed one round and saved and quit out of the cave. He wasn't really going to go in and out, but he'd already spent the time to walk in the door, so, you know, not that bad of a play. But yeah, here's the part where Pikapal's exploration advantage from the early game routing comes in, because Locklen has to recross all the woods and CAC to get to those 3 southern CAC entrances. Since Pikapals came from the south, he doesn't have to do that. Pikapals can instead spend this time to work toward the eastern area.
I don't remember seeing Hookshot Cave from Pikapals, though.
I want to say he did see it. He didn't do what Locklen's doing, though, which is actually explore where the connector goes, which is always a very interesting early game play. Well, we have another mystery chest from Pikapals. He got something in 3 bombs. We'll have to remember to keep an eye out when Locklen does this area to learn what was in the right chest of Mire Shed.
Now that's interesting that Hookshot Cave brings us out to Bumper Ledge, because once we get a mirror, we can check whatever that cave is on the Light World side.
Yeah, I like to think of connectors. There's sort of a big 3 of the 3 places you really want to find connectors to. The Foothills Cave, which is, of course, that one. The Death Mountain Floating Island, and that middle ledge of Turtle Rock that leads you to Mimic Cave. Finding one of those this early, it's just a huge information advantage, because that's not only an entrance you can only reach via that connector, of course, and an item you can only reach via that connector, but it's also access to a majority of Dark World Main just walking from there.
Also true, you're nicely in West Dark World there, and pretty convenient to Vu. Hey, while we were talking, Pikapals found desert already. What's on the torch here? Just some bombs. Good that we don't need to worry about that.
Looks like Locklen's diverging a bit on his routing, choosing to head south here. Probably really interested in that Drain Dam item and just making the plays he can on the way. While Pikapals is in a very similar location, just a little phase shifted.
Hey, but we get the cool music.
I also really do appreciate that Pikachu's bunny sprite is a Bidoof. It's a pretty solid bunny sprite in my opinion. To answer a question in chat, this is a 1-0 race. Both players had pretty solid wins in week 1 and are looking to join our 2-0 crew.
And Locklen pulls our first big key of the race, which was to Turtle Rock. So that with one small key is kind of interesting. You know, if the game were to give us 2 rods and a cane of Samaria and, you know, reasonable weapons, we could go to Trinex if we found the laser bridge entrance.
The big key is also nice, because if you know the particular bomb jump, you find the Turtle Rock big chest, and it's just 2 items right there.
Also true.
We see Pikapals actually kind of committing to this South Dark World Bunny Walk route. It can potentially pay off nicely, but on average, bunny walking isn't that rewarding, and it is pretty time-consuming, so it's definitely somewhat of a big play early. And even worse, you take the death without learning what's in the archery game entrance.
Oh, and with Pikapals having found the front of Desert, Locklen just found the back. So between the two of them, you know, just give us a few keys and items and we can do Desert.
Locklen really trying to take advantage of that stun prize. He's actually in a kind of tight spot with bombs, but he's secure in reality just because every enemy is just a mini bomb shop.
Unless you hit them too far off screen and can't actually collect it.
Another sort of anti-meta thing we see here is Locklen made the journey all the way to the Vanilla Ice Rod Cave area without Glove when he still had many other options. Few players will do this because it's a long walk that you likely have to repeat. He's rewarded by finding the Tower of Hera. We'll see if there's any good item in here you can just snatch early and potentially get a good lead.
Oh, French vanilla big key, so I guess we can go upstairs now and check 2 more chests.
Yeah, that's a bit of an agonizing find because obviously it's both a good item and it gives you more access, but man, it feels bad to climb Hera and just have to leave because you can't kill the boss.
But after checking what's next door, Locklen's deciding that, yeah, I'm gonna check those 2 chests. Hey, we could turn up a hammer into sword or a sword and then kill the boss.
I do have to say I really like the decision to walk out and check that 1 extra chest, or that 1 extra entrance. It might not seem like that big of a deal, but if that entrance just had a sword or hammer in it, it would have been a decision that would have saved Locklen several minutes.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not exactly, you know, your first choice to be climbing Hera without a weapon.
On the other hand, Pikapals made these somewhat more prevalent in the meta play of when he went to check the Drain Dam early, went toward the desert into Agana's cave, which is suspiciously vanilla.
Wouldn't be a real Crosskeys seed if something weren't vanilla. And there's a mostly useless big key.
Yeah, you always feel a little bad finding the big keys you know you don't need at all, but honestly, you feel kind of good about a big key like that one too, just because when you do inevitably go to Swamp Palace, do you really want to orphan the big chest?
Now, GT Big Key made me think about GT Climb, but I think we've seen everything and it's just useless fairy at GT.
Yeah, that sounds right. I don't know if we've seen Magic Bat or not. I really haven't been keeping that careful a track of it, but
Oh, maybe we haven't.
the spicy part of the GT Climb, nevertheless, is definitely the 4 chest, and those are there no matter what Aghanim has behind him.
Right, I just realized we don't know what's at Sank.
Oh, little Mire shed fail from Locklen there. Got to go back and do it again.
Okay, so we didn't miss anything there with Pikapals. Speaking of Pikapals, he is now showing us the eastern area.
I will say we have found just remarkably little progression for how little remains to check in the light world. This is leading me to suspect something like a desert door is going to lead us to Death Mountain.
Well, there's the cape that, if we could get to the top of Hyrule Castle, that opens another entrance.
Yeah, and it's always just nice in general to know where Ganon's tower is. It is a very item-dense location in Crosskeys. With 27 chests, it's more than double almost every other dungeon, but you can't really do a lot there until you have several items, and we don't have anything relevant for it other than the GT Big Key, which does nothing by itself. And based on how he's walking, I would suspect Locklen is about to find that same entrance to South Dark World that Pikapals found earlier. We'll see how he chooses to play it.
Yeah, so I guess that's now all 3 entrances to Desert we've seen?
No, I think we've seen the same 2 from both players. The middle door Desert, I believe, is still a mystery to us.
Oh. For some reason, I thought Pikapals had gone in the middle. But yeah, Locklen is playing this quite differently. He does not want to do bunny walking right now. He's going back to see what's in the light world.
Yeah, we know there wasn't really much exciting. There was a Paradox Cave entrance, but as I recall, it was the one that you would need the Mire to break your way into, so not really the good Paradox Cave entrance. And yeah, that other connector, because we'd seen the end of it, Pikapals wisely remembered he doesn't have to follow it, and instead chose the third desert door, and lo and behold, we're on a mountain.
And Sick Kid actually has a good tool collection today, so that was definitely... I mean, you were saying we were running out of doors. That looks like it could well have been our advancement.
Yeah, you get the hook shot, you go back to Hookshot Cave, that's 4 items right there. It's really likely that opens things up. But of course, the hook shot, you also have to remember, does something a little more directly obvious here. It opens up the entire Western Mountain.
Or at least the bottom part of the Western Mountain. Still can't get up to the Hera entrance.
And this is also the point where if I'm either of these runners, well, Locklen will have this thought in a moment. As soon as you see that hammer, GT is just screaming at you. Hey, you know, it's actually perfect. You'll have hammer and hookshot to left side GT, a couple keys to help out with the logic. You need one more to make that really spicy. And then the red boomerang to slay the Ice Armos. It's perfect.
And of course, logic finds that perfectly reasonable to do Ice Armos with a red boomerang.
Logic finds the hammer perfectly reasonable, which you would have to do left side, but the red boomerang in reality is a poor choice that is slightly less poor than the hammer.
Hey, and Pikapals found the old man. He's not even that far from home.
A dark palace key and a dark cave. It checks out.
The first of 6. Oh, looks like Locklen's about to find his way to the mountain, too.
to respond to the chat thread here, the reason I agree with Pikapals not going through Spectacle Rock Cave is we'd already seen the exit of it. It was at Lumberjack. So Pikapals kept that in mind and saved the trip. That's why Pikapals knew the desert connector was very likely required.
Hey, that's quite a place for Cave 45 to be hiding out on West Death Mountain with the fire rod.
Oh, that fire rod gets you thinking too, because you're a bow away from being able to climb GT. Well, I guess Pikapals doesn't have the big key yet, but with what we know, they're a bow away from climbing, they're a cane from right side. There's a lot going on with that fire rod.
We're a desert big key from being able to do land mows.
At least in practice, the logic will expect you to have the desert small as well, so that's probably not what the seed wants you to do, but certainly something you would do anyway.
Right, and we haven't seen any map checks yet, so we don't know whether Landmos has a pendant or a crystal, but odds favor a crystal.
But yeah, we're finding way too many pieces to GT. I'm suspecting we're going to find another GT small somewhere. We're going to find hammer, cane, or bow, and stuff's going to start happening.
And Pikapals found Chicken Hut at Spike Cave location, but can't do anything really as a bunny.
At least a much slower entrance down at the very southwest corner of the Dark Mountain was something he knows he doesn't have to return to. That is not the most fun entrance to have to double back to.
Oh, and there was Graveyard Ledge. We're finding all sorts of random one-off caves that we can't check here.
Yeah, though, that particular Graveyard Ledge cave will at least be a very easy check once we get Pearl, given that you just save and quit to Mountain Cave and you're right there.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to have that old man in the Dark World.
It is and it isn't. Like, Dark World's nice, but man, I can't think of many places in Dark World I would like him less than the southeast corner of Dark Death Mountain.
Well, except we have a connector to Village of Outcasts right there.
Yeah, just need a pearl and a hammer to escape prison. Come to think of it, though, Pikapals doesn't know where the Hookshot Cave connector takes him, so he's going to find a more workable bunny walk path after that, though it also wouldn't be very surprising if he weren't a bunny by the time he opens those Hookshot Cave chests.
You mean these Hookshot Cave chests?
Yeah, we started off strong, piece of heart and 5 rupees. Another piece of heart. Man, this is just very powerful.
Hey, we're up to 8 heart containers now. Ooh.
That's actually very interesting that we whiffed so thoroughly there, because between both runners, is the only Light World entrance we haven't seen the potion shop?
Well, if you don't count things like flipper locked locations.
Well, yeah, not counting the plethora of entrances they cannot access. Logically, like, they're very limited here. Pikapals, I think, noticing how limited he is choosing to commit to the bunny walk.
Yeah, we are running low on things. I guess Pikapal's gonna go to Dark Chapel now. Whoa. Well, that's where Hyrule Castle is, and Pika's going to do a bunny revive, not surprising. And of course, we do have, as well as having the sewers key so we can get all the items out of here, we also have 2 other exits.
Chat informing me that we in fact had seen the potion shop entrance, so
no, I think they're saying we've seen the potion shop itself, which I believe was in CAC. I don't think anyone checked the potion shop entrance.
I think they were trying to tell me we've seen both, but because yeah, I know we saw the potion shop itself in CAC, which isn't super interesting right now. I guess that 50 rupee cave that Pikapals was in earlier was at the potion shop. But yeah, Hyrule Castle here, this could easily be the answer, not because of the bunny revival shenanigan that Pikapals pulled, but because if another one of the castle doors leads to some light world entrance, like north of Graveyard or something, that puts the entire castle into logic here. At least the stuff that's not behind Lamp by logic, which is where Pikapals is starting, in the basement.
Right, and having that key does put this, the front of escape fully in logic, assuming, as you said, that one of those other 2 exits leads to the light world.
Meanwhile, looks like Locklen is going around to check that potion shop entrance. So if we can trust chat, which is usually you can, but they'll lead you astray every once in a while, this should be the 50 rupee cave. Well, that was our important progression map of Swamp Palace, which, yeah, this was not the immediate answer, but Pikapals is still probably going to continue to the back of Hyrule Castle here. A lot of could be helpful.
The fire rod does count as a fire source for going to the back.
No, it does not. Entrance does not have all beginner advanced logic quirks.
Well, now we know where Tower of Hera goes, and that confirms that the front of escape is in logic.
Yep, we now have a very in-logic map to Swamp Palace. So if Pikapals chooses to map check in the Dark World, he can do so with confidence that that knowledge is in logic.
And if we ever get a book, we know how to check Ether Tablet now.
Of course, Hammer would be pretty spicy at any time because it opens up full left side GT, but the more subtle thing it lets you do is go to Hera and go to the summit of East Mountain, and then you get to play your game of pick a drop.
Once you get the hammer.
Oh, Locklen doing a check that Pikapals did not, which is the first chest in Castle Tower. It was only 3 bombs, but that was pretty good awareness to head back over there, because that easily could have been the answer.
Hey, of all the things to find in the back of Escape, that glove's quite a find, as well as our second pod key and second GT key.
That's our 3rd GT key. And remember, we are a lamp away from that being in logic. Given how many clues we have pointing to GT already, I would not be surprised if Lamp shows up shortly.
And then we just need either the Cane of Samaria or a hammer so that we can actually do things there. To answer chat, Sank today is in Lumberjack.
So that's kind of a good news, bad news thing, getting spit out from Castle right into King's Tomb. The bad news is you're stuck. The good news is that entrance is often really slow and annoying to check. Mitts don't tend to ever show up in Crosskeys until it's too late to matter. So at least you know you never have to go back and check that entrance again. Yeah, Pikapals is just going straight for some glove entrances here. He probably figures if I'm sequence breaking the lamp, I'm sequence breaking the lamp. I don't want to run around and find the tools to put this glove into logic when it seems like it could be immediately helpful. And I support that line of thought. I guess the other thing about it is that Pikapals doesn't know that the Ice Rod Cave area doesn't have his next progression. And now that he has the glove, he can do this check just a little more efficiently than Locklen did. Even if it's nothing in that 50 rupee cave entrance, just knowing, or 20 rupee cave entrance, sorry, just knowing that there's nothing in there saves him a trip back later.
And maybe there is progression there. I'd sure like to see progression somewhere at this point.
Well, the crabs would sure like to see Pikapals not in the Ice Rod Cave area. They did their best to make it happen.
Well, we could go into Mire. We do have the hook shot. I don't think Pikapals is in a hurry to do that.
I would expect Pikapals to take a death in Hera here to refill his health, because he'll need it for the spikes in Mire. Well, he needs more magic is his problem, because his only way to kill Wizrobes is the Fire Rod, and he does not have enough magic to kill 4 Wizrobes right now. That's actually kind of a crisis situation for Pikapals, because you have to be super suspicious of Mire right now, but there's just not an easy way to solve the situation.
So chat is pointing out that Pikapals did get that green goo.
That is an excellent observation that I would expect Pikapals to be aware of and take advantage of. Man, I was just running through every pot in Hera. I'm like, there's not magic in this dungeon. What's Pikapals even do about this?
Well, there is magic in Hera Basement, but we can't get there without the Hera Small Key. So Locklen has now discovered escape. Could go through and get his glove.
Oh, that's a bad hit Pikapals takes. Honestly, if I were Pikapals, I would just die on purpose right in this first room of Mire. Because 4 hearts is sketchy. You can do it, but it's sketchy for getting that spike chest. 6 is much safer.
And now
he's
even...
at 3. It's possible at 3, but you have to be frame perfect. At 2, it's actually impossible. And the real problem here, there's no real way to get more hearts in Mire. There's one very out-of-the-way pot near the way to the boss with 1 heart in it. Otherwise, you're dependent on enemies to drop stuff, and based on that room, the enemy sets here in Mire aren't really of the health-dropping persuasion. That's a tough spot. Flute is a nice feeling item to see, but it doesn't open anything.
Yeah, we already have Death Mountain access, and we can't get to Mire area without the Titan's Mitts.
Oh, the cape. The cape's an item in this game. Good work, Pikapals.
Yeah, now we just... I guess in the room where you have to light the torches or on the way to it, there's a magic fill?
Yeah, Pikapals is going to totally drain his magic doing 8 torches with the fire rod, but that's really no big deal. Probably doesn't really need the magic for anything else. Just has to be sure not to take any more hits, because a lot of enemies in Mire do 2 hearts in 1 hit, and that's all Pikapals has.
Well, there's a truly useless map.
Hey, that map increases the value of every freestanding map Pikapals will see for the rest of the scene. Of course, these firelock chests in Mire are extremely far out of logic. They expect all 3 Mire small keys, and we have found 0 of them, but like, if you're making the dive into Mire, it almost never makes sense not to do these checks.
I guess Pika was kind of hoping the items would respawn when he came back there, but no such luck. You kind of have to exit and re-enter the dungeon for that to happen.
Yeah, that's what we call an optimism pop pull. He knew full well the magic wasn't respawned, but wouldn't it be nice if it were? Let's just pull the pot just in case. So in a not surprising development, Firelocked Mire was totally barren, leaving our Mire small keys as the useless finds they were always destined to be. But yeah, even if this last chest is nothing, you still don't feel too bad about this play, because the amount of time you'll save across the seed having the flute in, let's be honest, this is still early game, it adds up a lot.
Ice small, that doesn't really do anything for us, though if we find ice and, well, I guess we have a fire rod, we can get into ice. Does help us get around it a little bit.
Yeah, the first small key to ice is pretty nice. It just sort of saves time in your routing. If you have to go in there without a hammer, it can really help you out. We haven't seen Ice Palace yet, so it's pretty likely that we're not going to be in there anytime soon, but you literally can't say no after you open the chest.
Hey, is that a vanilla 300 in the brewery?
Yeah, only because he already has his red boomerang.
Yay for NMG 100% strats.
Yeah, to answer a question in chat, Pikapals can fake Flipper into the waterfall without Moon Pearl, but he'll still be in a swimming state and he won't have an easy way to fix it. If it happens to be like a dungeon, he could just die and respawn, but most likely he would have no way to get into a grounded state to interact with most things.
Huh. Pika trying to save a little bit of money here? Oh, I see. He was refilling his magic and then buying a blue goo.
That's a pretty smart play. At this point, the fire rod is his only real weapon, and he had no ability to shoot it at all. So that was a pretty big upgrade to his capabilities, just filling up his magic.
Yeah, and totally worth 60 rupees. And here you were saying about how Locklen had checked this chest, so now Pikapals will also find out that it's worthless.
Pikapals is probably legitimately surprised that chest has nothing in it. Because this seed is pretty bare in the early game. They're both probably pretty concerned at the just total lack of anything. Well, Locklen is making another optimism play, heading toward the eastern mountain. Not gonna make it over the bridge, though.
Oh, but here we are getting our first fake flipper play.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about going out of logic here, too, because, like, you assume it's a long bunny walk required. If you get something that'll just shorten the number of laps, it's a big deal.
Just yet another heart container.
As a Pokemon fan, can I point out what an inherently bad idea it is for a Pikachu to go swimming?
I mean, isn't that, a good way to maybe, electrocute all the Zora men in the water?
I mean, I'm not racist against Zora. If that's your views, I guess I won't judge. You have a right to your opinion. Fun, useless fact, you are allowed to go shopping in Swim State.
I did not know that, but there wasn't anything Pikapals really wanted anyway. But we are going to be wasting 500 rupees shortly.
Hey, we are at a minimum going to spend 500 rupees for the critical knowledge of where a progression item isn't.
Now, one thing out of logic that Pikapals skipped is the upgrade fairy location.
To answer the chat question about the logic strain that we're kind of on about here, the glove is in logic as soon as we find a lamp. And that would put Zora in logic, but right now our glove is illogical, which in turn means this completely worthless Mire small key is not in logic either. We already know the Mire small keys don't lead to anything of value at all, so pretty dull find there.
So where are we going from CAC now, as Locklen is in Mire with not quite full magic, but a bit more health. Ooh, and he wastes a precious fire rod shot there. That's unfortunate, but does get through that room.
Pikapals is heading back to Dark World. Probably just going to loop through Village of Outcast and back into South Dark World. He doesn't really have anything else left. He might do some bunny revival stuff in Skull Woods. Just very limited right now.
Nothing like being chased by a murder dactyl while in bunny form.
Shoutouts to birds as video game enemies. They have a long track record of excellence.
From their perspective, not from the runner's perspective.
I mean, have you ever thought, what if the bird knights in Zelda 2 could actually fly? They'd be murder dactyls. It all works together.
Murder dactyls with shooting swords.
Hey, that's your idea, not mine. But I guess now that's been suggested, we better implement it.
And you'll probably blame me, and I'll have a lot of runners calling for my head. I see how it is. would certainly be nice if that mirror were to ever turn up.
Oh, if the Mire's our next find, then our tangled web becomes even more tangled. This could get to be really spicy if we find a Mire soon.
But yeah, because you were talking about the connector to Mimic Cave area being kind of key, and oh, there's our ice palace. Pikapals doesn't want to go in quite yet. It would be rather difficult with this equipment to get through it.
Yeah, I look at that ice palace and I see a place that is simultaneously out of logic and also just very difficult, and also requiring a double dip because you don't have the hammer. Noping out of that is a pretty easy call. Whereas taking these chests in Turtle Rock, if you're comfortable with this bomb jump, which we're going to learn if Pikapals is very shortly. Oh, never mind. He has the hook shot. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, why would you not just do this?
And, of course, we didn't see what item it was.
Hey, we know what item it is just as much now as we did before he went in.
And here we are checking out and getting a worthless map. Time to take a nice little death warp.
Locklen playing tag with the fire snake. Locklen won the race. He escaped the fire snake, but he kind of lost the war there because he had to redo that entire long hallway. Yeah, we're going to operate under the assumption that chest had 10 arrows until proven otherwise. I think that's really what we should assume every chest Pikapals opens and frame drops on contains.
Well, I think Locklen realized that apart from that flute, Mire's a bust.
Yeah, Locklen cleared, well, to answer chat again, Locklen cleared everything he could in Mire. Found his remarkable lack of value outside of that flute. But interestingly, he is walking back. Instead of doing what Pikapals did, which is immediately routing in the flute activation and fluting to 8, this is another just small time bleed from Locklen. And we've seen a lot of those little events. And I think more than any like particularly big execution advantage from Pikapals, just these little efficiencies are why Pikapals is, at this point, probably a good about 4 minutes ahead.
And if he unfreezes, we'll find out. Ooh, that takes us to Desert, that other exit from TR, which doesn't really do anything for us.
Yeah, that tells us if we find a book, we aren't walking over there. Not the most exciting find. I really don't agree with Pikapal's decision to check that entrance because, like, his next play is to walk all the way back. Or, well, his next play probably should have been to flute to 3, but do that and then go back through Hookshot Cave.
Hey, and Locklen finds Thieves Town. This was, I was saying earlier, I was a little bit surprised Pikapals didn't want to check this. And this is 4 free checks. We don't have the keys to go to the back, but it's still 4 free checks in the front.
Which entrance was this in?
This was Upgrade Ferry entrance.
Ooh. I can totally see not checking this because you get stuck. But with flute, it's not that bad to get stuck. And yeah, this is nice information, potentially nice items. Locklen taking the safer but slower route through that second Thieves Town room, invoking an extra screen transition.
And if you guessed we would have neither sword nor moon pearl by the hour mark, you are probably right. Is that a vanilla archery shop?
I wonder how many entrances are actually vanilla in an average seed, because it's not that uncommon. If you think about it, wouldn't it be surprising to have a seed where not a single entrance was vanilla?
Yeah, especially given, like, constraints of certain entrances being limited to certain places.
Yeah, those aren't too bad. The only rules are Bomb Shop is never behind Super Bomb, which would be quite a difficult situation if it were. Smith has severe limitations, Old Man has limitations, and there's some set of caves that are Musconnects.
And of course, the drop-down caves can only be shuffled among themselves.
Yeah, and the skull stuff, of course. Well, did I just hear Jake Hoper in chat feeling vindicated? Because totally, you go through Paradox Cave, you come out in Light World, and the 7 items in Paradox Cave are now all available.
So Pikapals must have gotten flippers somewhere during one of his freezes.
That's got to be Turtle Rock Big Chest.
And now that he's in the Light World, he can use the cape to get back into Paradox Cave and do those 7 checks.
And we're going to get some information about our 5-6 crystals. Looks like it's Pod and Mire. We aren't really close at all to being able to do Pod. So probably not a very important Super Bomb this seed, but you never know.
Oh, there's our Mire Big, so, if we had anything reasonable to kill Vitreous with, we could finish Mire.
If only we had a cane.
Oh yeah, that too. Go back in there for the one-off big chest check? I'm guessing not.
We had text box for a moment. I didn't see what text box item we got in that one chest, but I did see that Cane of Samaria. That, of course, is giving us a real strong pointer right at the GT tile room. We also have front of Turtle Rock, don't we? That's 3 more checks.
Yeah, I mean, that cane opened up quite a bit, and we can do the full right side of GT, in fact, since we also have the Fire Rod.
Yeah, and there's some temptation to go to Vitreous right now, but for one, it's out of logic without Lamp. And more critically, I'm not really sure what the plan would be to kill Vitreous with our current equipment. You could stare at him longingly.
If we found the upgrade fair, we could buy lots and lots and lots of bomb upgrades.
Fun fact, even 50 is actually not enough.
Wow. I did not know that.
I think it's mechanically possible with 50 if you hit like 5 eyes per bomb in the first phase consistently. It's a bad life to do that. We get a mystery small key from our first check in Turtle Rock. Honestly, there's really nothing that small key could be that changes things too much. I guess the desert small key would open a couple checks.
Well, the other 2 items in Turtle Rock weren't worth much. I do wonder if he's gonna go to GT now, though. I can't remember where GT was. I remember it's not someplace too horrible to get to.
Is there such a thing as a place horrible to get to when you have a flute?
Well, there you go. I mean, it was in Light World. Here we go, right at 5.
Fun fact, I keep notes when I play this on the Spiral notebook, and when I mark down this entrance, I really just write the number 5.
I mean, that's what I'd call it, like the 5 entrance.
And the Dark World equivalent of this is D5. Here's a fun trivia game for you while we wait on a tile room. Do you remember what was in this cave in vanilla?
I do not.
This is the location of the cave that internally to the randomizer we call the Long Fairy Cave. It has fairies sitting in it, but it's longer than all the other fairy caves.
Oh, that cave. I know which one you're talking about. It, like, has a little bit of a zigzag in it.
Yeah, it's kind of U-shaped, well, obviously with the U turned on its side.
Hey, and there was an item in Tile Room, and we have no idea what it was.
Yeah, and I totally agree with Pikapals just doing full right here. It's not in logic. Well, actually, wait, he has 3 GT Smalls. Are all 3 No, one of those GT Smalls is behind Lamp, but again, if you're sequence breaking Lamp, and that's how you get forward in the seed, you feel pretty good about it. While Locklen spots the ever-valuable Long Fairy Cave that we were just discussing.
I mean, all we really know by the fact that this is a sequence break is that Lamp's not going to be down here.
The funny thing is we don't actually know that, because if we find Lamp down here, that just means we can find 4th GT key.
Yeah. Or, you know, it could be an indicator that Hammer's going to show up.
Well, we need 3 GT keys to put the bottom in logic regardless, but like I was saying, though, if you're sequence breaking the Lamp and that's your way through a seed, especially with a fire rod in your bag, you feel pretty good about it.
And we do also have GT Big, so we can check the big chest, which is what Pikapals just remembered he can do.
Pikapal's really hoping that the chest above Ice Armos bails him out from a multiple-minute fight, because that's what's incoming. Granted, I think he does still have his blue potion, and blue potion plus red cane, it's not the nicest fight, but it is less than half as long as the red boomerang fight.
But what if I want to see a red boomerang fight? Ooh, and Locklen takes a death to those Pengators.
In all honesty, this is a very technical fight with the Cane of Samaria. Not just to win, it's not actually that hard to win the fight with this weapon, but to do this fight optimally, there's a lot of nuance, and you get very little opportunity to practice this. Because, I mean, you really wouldn't do this unless you had extremely few other options.
As is the case right now.
Of course, with all these slower Ice Armos fights, you're also always wondering how you're managing which ones you beat up. If you just spread your damage equally, you end up wasting a lot of it because the one that turns red inevitably heals to full. If you're really precise, you kill 2 at the same time and don't have a red fight, but I mean, you're on next level strats if you can seriously pull that off in a red cane Ice Armos fight.
Yeah, how many hits does it take with red cane? 24 per Armos?
It's the same number as fighter sword swings. I don't remember
so I think that's 12.
And yeah, Pikapal's just going for the boomerang strats on the red one. He's not only almost out of magic, but frankly, the red cane is very dangerous against this form, whereas this is slow, it's 48 hits, but it's free.
once you finally get under it, which it took a bit to do, but he's fine now. And maybe Pika won't freeze and we'll see what's in this room. Ooh boy, guess we're doing left side now. So now we get all the lovely left side stuff to check.
That sword's actually a little nice if you're thinking about Ice Palace, because combined with that Bombos, it can let you save a lot of magic on your Cold Stare fight.
And there's a pod big key, so we still need a bow, and we still need to find out where pod is, but things are starting to point that way. And in any case, with that sword, we now absolutely can do Vitreous apart from, you know, the whole lamp for logic thing, and who cares about lamps, right, at this level of play?
Yeah, you're definitely thinking about the lamp, but you're not thinking that hard about the lamp. Another thing you're going to be thinking about with our combination of items is continuing through Turtle Rock and going to the laser bridge.
That's true. I mean, we now have everything we need for Turtle Rock except for the Ice Rod. Well, maybe with Locklen in Paradox Cave, we'll actually see what was in there. Oh, hey, there's our lamp. We're back in logic, right? Sorta, kinda.
I'm not sure how it happened. You seem to have gotten a little bit ahead of me. I guess that mystery small key was the desert small, because I just see Pikapals entering desert now, finding his juicy 10 arrows. I'm guessing it's the lamp in the second chest.
Yeah. I apologize for being ahead. I refreshed, and all of a sudden I seem to be ahead by virtue of having refreshed my stream.
Yeah, we apologize for the technical difficulties. It's just kind of something that happens. The software tries to handle frame drops, but I mean, Pikapals has dropped a lot. But that lamp is fun. That tells us that everything we have now is in logic. And we now go right back to our old logical gear turning to ask, where is the pearl? I personally am really suspicious of Spike Cave.
Yeah, we found that a while ago, and yeah, with what we have, Spike Cave is now in logic.
We have chat calling out going into Misery Mire and killing Vitreous. We could also look at the Mire big chest. I think those are also really strong locations.
Looks like Pika's reevaluating his options there for a few moments.
It looks like he's heading back towards Swamp Palace, but he does not have the Swamp Small Key. So I'm not entirely sure what play Pikapals was trying to make here. He might have mismarked something.
He hasn't been into Thieves yet.
No, when we know that was at the Capacity Ferry entrance.
Of course, we still haven't seen any keys for Thieves, so he still just has the front four available, which I don't think contained anything interesting.
Yeah, I think they had some small key or another that wasn't too interesting, and that was about it. Oh yeah, Skull Key. If you ever want an uninteresting small key, Skull will help you out. We have seen back a Skull, though. It's not logical for reasons, but there's really nothing stopping Pikapals from killing Mothula right now.
That is also true. And also, that explains why Pikapals was back in Desert, because we're now seeing on Locklen's side that the Turtle Rock Compass chest had the Desert Small. Oh, right. Yeah,
My speculation where the flippers were to answer chat is Turtle Rock Big Chest, which is out of logic right now because that's behind Moon Pearl. But flippers haven't really led to anything interesting so far.
And we are seeing Pikapals do that Mothula play now.
Yeah, this is a pretty low downside play. You know it won't give you the Pearl, but as soon as you find the Pearl, this instantly would go into logic, and it's pretty likely this is a crystal. You have to do it anyway.
Given a comment in chat, how would we illogically complete anything in Swamp without the small key?
With boldness. Whoa. Locklen is going through Turtle Rock from the front door. That is a very rare and very bold play in Crosskeys. Given that Locklen's already found 2 TR smalls, he's pretty likely not to be punished for that, but it's still risky because if he doesn't find another one, and he needs to open the way to Laser Bridge, and he needs to kill Trinex, he could easily have added an extra item to his go mode list and, you know, another TR small.
And hey, Moth there gave us the first crystal of the game at nearly an hour 18.
I was thinking about it the other day. I wonder in what percentage of seeds the first pendant or crystal obtained is the one from Skull. It has to be a really big number.
Just because once you find the back, all you really need is a sword and a fire source.
And a Skull small key, which could come from the front of Skull. Like, it's way fewer requirements in practice than any other dungeon. Well, welcome back, everyone. We just had a full resync. From my perspective, Pikapals just teleported to the top of the mountain. This is definitely a good way to make use of his hammer.
Yeah, we have not seen the top of East Death Mountain before. That's just a heart container on floating island. All sorts of heart containers showing up in places we don't want them.
I mean, at this point with 12 hearts, I don't think Pikapals really values a heart container differently than anything else.
No, I don't think so either. I'm just commenting that it's impressive that he's at 12 hearts despite all the heart containers we haven't gotten. Oh, wow. Looks like the resync just pushed things in the other direction if chat's just seeing Pikapals leaving Hera. So we did get a comm stream refresh when Jinxie Girl did that refresh, so I'm not sure what else we can do to try to get the comms and the restream back in sync with each other. Because from my perspective, Pikapals is passing the compass chest almost in Tower of Hera.
Yeah, another smart thing to do with the sword and the hammer, just go kill Moldorm. It's pretty likely you get a crystal here, and it's another item in logic. Of course, chat can't see what's going on, so we could actually tell them anything happened here.
Oh, and Locklen's about to do Turtle Rock Big Chest, so maybe we'll see if the flippers are there.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be rough, too. Pikapals just fell 8 consecutive times to Moldorm. I don't know how he comes back.
Okay, so those are the flippers in the TR Big Chest, so now we know definitively where those came from. I'm afraid to say what happened with the Moldorm fight because I don't want to spoil chat here.
Yeah, like that thing where his game crashed when he fell down the hole the same time as he got killed by Moldorm. That was rough.
Oh, they caught up. Okay, so we can tell them that the bow and a crystal were there. So Pika now has 2 crystals, and with that bow, definitely time to do Vitreous, which is what Pikapals is doing.
Yeah, funny thing, that bow doesn't do anything logically for him in the Vitreous fight, but boy, does it make it nicer. Oh man, Locklen just learned a rough lesson when you bunny revival. If you get hit by a transform when you don't have the Moon Pearl and you're in Dark World, you just stay in bunny form.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. That makes logical sense. But yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh yeah, and we know that Mire's a 5/6 crystal. I just realized looking at the tracker. Once again, shout outs to our trackers, especially the circumstances under which they're having to track. Oh no, and Locklen gets hit again. At least we know the Moon Pearl isn't in Lava Chest.
And indeed, it pretty much couldn't be.
Right, that's what I mean. The logic won't force a bunny revive on you.
I mean, it could be there, I guess, if you were able to find all the Turtle Rock Smalls and just get it from the front, but I mean, when does that happen? But yeah, I really like
Locklen's
this general approach that Pikapals is taking to the seed. Let's just clean up pendant. Let's just clean up pendant or crystals we can. Get some stuff we know we're going to have to do. And kind of brace ourselves, because everyone watching here, I think, knows the Moon Pearl's at the top of GT.
Speaking of GT, that's what Locklen's gonna need to do now that he has the Cane of Samaria. He's gonna have to go all the way down the right side, get the hammer in the back, then go down the left side to get his first sword.
I believe, to answer the question from chat, I believe Pyramid Drop is Magic Bat. So they're not going to be doing a whole lot with it.
Oh, no, I thought Pika was taking out the bow, but he goes to the cane instead. I was thinking, this was probably about time to start using that bow, but no.
Yeah, probably a little faster to do some Cape Fighter sword spins here. I guess he doesn't want to drain himself too much on arrows, given that his next play is into GT.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Gotta get past those mimics.
But yeah, he is playing really conservatively with the arrows. He probably could have been a little looser than this.
But unbeknownst to him, he has quite a lead, so it doesn't really matter how conservatively he plays this fight.
His lead isn't completely definitive right now. He certainly could throw it away if he, say, died to Vitreous.
Perhaps Trinex before GT?
I would go with no, because logically Trinex is either behind all 4 Turtle Rock small keys or
the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, because the only entrance to Turtle Rock we have accessible in Light World right now is the very front. But judging by where Pikapals is going, he very well may be heading to Laser Bridge Trinex. Certainly Locklen is heading to Laser Bridge.
We haven't actually seen what's on Laser Bridge yet, have we? Oh, and Locklen.
Rough.
Yeah.
From Locklen.
I was thinking, okay, good. He's going to take the emergency door. He'll be fine, and didn't quite make it.
That emergency door isn't safe. It's actually very scary because you could easily get stuck if you come out of like back of Skullwoods, Ganon's Tower.
Hey, so that map check is interesting because Thieves and Swamp are both crystals, so we now know 6 out of our 7 crystals.
Yeah, and if Pikapals kills Trinex soon, that'll just narrow things down further.
Yeah, I just realized it's missing on Pikapal's tracker, but Hera was a crystal. We did get that after Moldorm. Yeah, so that also, we're in an interesting situation. We don't know Eastern Desert, Ice, or Trinex, and exactly one of them is a crystal and the other 3 are pendants.
We're about to see where the safety door goes. Oh, it's Desert left. What a kind mercy to Locklen.
There's our Thieves Small, though we still don't have the big.
I'm always happy to see that, because that find makes a double dip of Thieves Town drastically less likely.
I mean, we've already cleared out the front, so it's going to have to be a double dip. Were you thinking triple dip?
Well, yeah, okay. Well, you don't have to go to the back twice, most likely.
Okay, fair. There's our pesky Swamp Small.
That is a full clear of Swamp Palace on the table. Now, again, you have to suspect that Upper GT has the Pearl, but a spicy way to play this seed is to just charge forward without climbing GT and see what happens. Though Pikapals is not checking where the last door goes, so he's not going to get that Thieves Town small key.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised because as soon as he beats Trinex, he'll warp to the main entrance of Turtle Rock.
Yeah, Pikapals probably doesn't want to risk getting stuck. Because there's a lot of ways you could go out that door and just be stuck and not able to go back in. But with what we know, he just left something on the table and didn't really get anything in return.
That head just didn't want to be hit.
Yeah, despite being giant glowing heads, these are a little smaller in terms of their hurt boxes than you would think. It's pretty easy to whiff.
Well, here's the moment of truth. Is this going to be our remaining unknown crystal? Hey, half magic's nice, and no, it's the green pendant, and we have not yet found Sahasrara.
I'm just going to throw out there that in terms of just finding a nice item to make the GT climb faster and safer, you couldn't have asked for much better than half magic right there.
Absolutely. You know, definitely changes the Landmo 2 fight, for instance. Makes some of the gauntlet a bit easier, too.
Like, at this point, you just burn everything to death with your fire rod, and it's nicer than some of the alternatives. And yeah, Locklen about to have a rigorous, vitreous fight on his hands. I think anyone who's played Crosskeys long enough has done a vitreous fight with about the equipment Locklen's going to do it now with. It's not that easy.
Yeah, as you were saying, logic doesn't care about the bow that Pikapals had. It just makes life easier. Oh yeah, Locklen doesn't have the sword yet.
Locklen doesn't have the hammer yet.
Well, I mean, the sword was hammer locked. But yes, he hasn't gotten to GT, and we were saying a while ago that, you know, that really needs to be his next play.
Oh, so for some reason I thought Locklen had picked up the hammer and was about to do hammer-only vitreous. But yeah, he's just doing nothing. And yeah, Pikapal's continuing to resist the GT climb. He has all 4 GT smalls. I mean, come on, man. We know it's what you have to do. Like, Learn's Desert's the blue pendant.
Well, I don't blame him for going to Swamp. This is now a perfectly reasonable full clear.
Yeah, like, it's just, to me, the way I look at it is, what are the odds you can beat the seed without the Moon Pearl? Given that you still have to find Palace of Darkness, I would say very low. So given that you figure you need Moon Pearl eventually anyway, I would just go straight to it. And the odds that Moon Pearl's an upper GT, at this point, it has to be over 90%. I guess I think he's done Spike Cave, which is also a very suspicious location.
Yeah, no one's really expressed an interest in, well, I mean, Locklen can't check it, but Pikapals hasn't really expressed an interest in checking it. Yeah, what are you going to do if Pikapals does go to Spike Cave and finds the Moon Pearl there? Are you still going to want to see what's on top of GT?
If I found the Moon Pearl, my desire to climb GT would go way, way down.
Oh, I thought you just wanted to see the climb.
No, I just legitimately think GT is extremely likely to be where the Pearl is. The logic's kind of screaming it, and there's just so few other possibilities left. Though, have we seen this connector that Locklen's going through right now? I don't know that we have.
But we did just get another pod key there in Swamp.
Well, I'm quite certain we hadn't seen this before, but I don't think Pikapals is going to miss it too much.
So where is Locklen going now?
At this point, honestly, the fact that it isn't right side GT is just putting him further behind. I don't think there's any decision he can make that isn't going and getting the hammer that's going to be worth it.
I would agree with that. And we still haven't even found any additional swords, though there are probably places in the Dark World that you would need the Moon Pearl to get to.
I wonder if Locklen's falling into one of the sort of paradoxes of logic here. So, logically, both Rando Room on left side and Compass Room on right side of GT require all 4 GT small keys, right?
Right.
The area around Ice Armos only requires 3 because you could open... You're guaranteed to be able to open one path or the other with 3 keys. It's just not guaranteed which one. So even though the chests on the way to Ice Armos aren't in logic, the chests near and beyond Ice Armos are. And if Locklen has been caught up in the sort of confusing nature of that and thinks GT isn't in logic, it might be driving him away from really the only thing that's going to advance him in this seed.
Oh, Mitts are an interesting find. Eastern Big is also interesting. We found Eastern. We have a bow. We could do Eastern, and at this point it's 50-50 that it's a crystal.
Yeah, there's almost no reason I can imagine Pikapal's next play wouldn't be just going to Eastern, and he'll get one of two things out of it. He'll either get a crystal, which moves him that much closer to beating the game, or he'll get knowledge of where the crystal is. It's almost like it's guaranteed to drop the Ice Palace map. And the fun thing is, because you can just route Ice Palace in such a way that you don't need the big key, Pikapals might be thinking he's pretty close to go mode. Because he needs another sword for the Ganon fight, he needs the Thieves Town big key, and he needs to find Pod. That's actually it. And it doesn't matter which of the remaining 2 dungeons are a crystal, those are his go mode items.
Yeah, he absolutely can do both Eastern and Ice. Eastern's a bit more pleasant, so I'm sure that's the one he'd prefer to do.
Thieves Small Key, to answer a chat point, is logically required to beat Thieves Town, but not practically required. If he had the big key and a sword and the location of Pod's entrance accessible to him, he wouldn't have to worry about it.
Well, there is crystal number 5. We are really, sorry, number 4. We are really racking them up, though.
Yeah, somewhat interesting, I have to observe. Pikapals is prioritizing Mitt's entrances over going and clearing Eastern. I don't hate it, because one of the most important things from Pikapal's perspective is, can I find the Palace of Darkness? But Eastern's just a much more stable play, though we might be hybriding it a bit here. Check the Ice Palace entrance, save and quit, you're right by Eastern. Yeah, that's a smart little optimization right there. And yeah, to comment on the state of the competitive race as a whole, I think it's pretty evident to most of us at this point that Locklen is rather significantly behind. But we're still multiple items from go mode, and there's a lot of room for some problematic things to occur in this seed. Locklen's on the path that we know is the path forward right now. If he kills Moldorm, gets his bow, and comes right back here, it's possible he could cut ahead a bit in that way and maybe make up some of this gap. And yet, certainly from the perspective of Pikapals, some of the items that I'd really be interested in finding here, beyond the things he hard needs for go mode, Boots or Mire would be great, because you're just expanding the number of locations Pod could be that you can get to without the Pearl that you gotta be convinced is just an upper GT. Pikapal's routing at this point is trying to beat the seed without the Moon Pearl.
Which seems relatively unlikely, as you've said, about the very limited number of places Pod could be at this point that even out of logic we could get to without the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, though I will say, even though it's probably not how I would have played it, the more I'm thinking about it, I don't hate the thinking here. Because this will end up actually being a reasonably quick seed for Pikapals, despite how grueling it was. If things do line up for a Pearless clear, if he can just find Palace of Darkness, and Palace of Darkness has all the rest of the stuff he needs in it,
And
like,
hey,
seed ends in a hurry if that happens.
And conveniently, Eastern did drop a crystal, so Ice is the last pendant. Hopefully we won't have to go through there.
Looks like Pikapals is going back for a play I had my eye on much earlier, and he's going to dive into Spike Cave.
And maybe the Moon Pearl's here. He has almost enough health to cheese it, but not quite. Okay, guess you were right about GT. I have to imagine that's where he's going next.
He'll probably check the Mire area entrances just to see if any of them happen to be Palace of Darkness.
Good point.
Because, yeah, if Pod is in one of the 3 entrances you can walk into here, Pod's 14 items. With 3 Pod small keys, he can get a majority of them. It's entirely possible Pod would put him into go mode by itself.
Locklen actually lit the torch there. You don't see that very often.
Quake is the Mire medallion, just a minor observation there. Probably not going to be important. We still don't know where Quake is, but you never know.
So there was Spiral. Yeah, you can Super Bunny the chest in it, right? You just kind of fall through the hole and then you're Super Bunny.
Yeah, in fact, the only way to be on that ledge and not be in Super Bunny state is if you bonk the wall behind the chest with the boots, which isn't a very smart thing to do. Don't do that.
And lacking the boots, not really something we need to worry about. And Pikapals has enough health that he can get bopped around a little bit here and doesn't have to worry too much. We haven't actually seen any mail upgrades.
Fight from the left against Locklen on the Ice Armos. I don't think it's actually worse than fighting them from the right, but everyone fights them from the right side of the room. Who fights them from the left side of the room?
Well, because you... Hey, wasn't I saying we hadn't seen mail upgrades? But yes, as for Ice Armos, I think the thing is that, when you fall down, you land on the right side. So, that's how people think about it. But hey, if Locklen wants to be different, he seems to be doing a fine job with the fight.
To answer chat, Locklen's options for this fight are fairly limited. Granted, he has Blue Cane, which would have been a faster fight than Red Cane. But maybe he's not comfortable with the Blue Cane strats. They're very fast, but they are quite magic intensive. And if you've never done it before, you can easily run out without having killed like half the Armos. Granted, in this case, he ran out without killing 5 of them, so Locklen probably does not really have experience with canes against Armos.
Well, at least he doesn't quite have to do 288 boomerang hits. Definitely a painful fight, though. And yeah, we don't know where the other bow is. We still don't know where 3 swords are. Oh, this is kind of interesting. Bomb jumping to emergency room.
Honestly, with the health Pikapals had, I think that was a great call.
Yeah, I just don't see it very often because, the game intends you to bonk there, but of course, boots are another thing that just haven't shown up.
Gonna observe, Pikapals is down to 6 arrows. That is not a very full quiver. Kind of surprised he hasn't whipped out his fire rod yet. Fire rodding your way through these rooms is one of the main advantages of finding half magic in a seed, in my opinion. And to Locklen's credit, I will say, he apparently did a lot of damage to all those guys with that red cane, because that was a lot faster than a full red boomerang Ice Armos would be.
And now Locklen finally has that hammer, which he can use as both a weapon and opening up more things, and he's clearly going to do left side. He'll get that sword.
Yeah, and just to answer the questions, it's still possible that Perlis was doable here. Well, no, it isn't. You can't. Yeah, it is, because what he could have done, he could have gone through the connector to the Hera entrance, used the Turtle Rock Dark World portal, and I don't think we've seen the summit of East Dark Death Mountain entrance yet. So that's one more entrance that he could have accessed with his mitts. But given how long that walk is, I have little blame for Pikapals for not wanting to do that and instead just going where the logic is telling him to go.
And with his last bit of magic, Pikapals gets through that door as he freezes, but unfreezes in time for us to see that compass.
I gotta say, that is the least surprising Moon Pearl I've seen in a long time. The only thing that's surprising about it is that Moon Pearl was actually not behind any GT small keys.
Yeah, it was these last two checks that are. I forget where the GT big key was, but I know it was quite a while ago. So without the mushroom and the powder, do you really bother beating Agatu to unlock Magic Bat? I guess you do.
Yeah, I mean, for one, it just drops you in East Dark World, which is one of the places you would have wanted to go anyway. So, in a way, this is just as slow as your overworld travel time would have been anyway. And if you later do get powder, I mean, it's a disaster scenario if Magic Bat's required and you leave now.
True. Meanwhile, Locklen, will hopefully do the climb now? No.
He can't do the climb without the bow. He has to go back to Hera
right,
now.
right. Forgot about that, the mimics. I mean, maybe he can mimic Clip.
Yeah, he could do that, but that would not be conducive to him getting in a good place to clear the seed.
Also true.
Not sure where Locklen's going right now. This is not toward Hera or Mire, which is surprising.
And at an hour 51, we're finally hearing the Dark World music for the first time.
I'll look at that big key. Just sitting there on the pyramid. It's the ice big key, which, well,
Not what you want to see.
Full clear ice palace, which it's not that bad of a play to go into ice, but in all honesty, I expect Pikapals to just scour the world for pod.
Yeah, I mean, 8 items and a pendant versus 14 and a crystal. I think I know which one I'd want.
And we still haven't seen Sahas either, which, given that you have the green pendant in your bag, that's a 4-item cave just out there. I don't think we've seen Hype Cave as well, which is a 5-item cave.
We have not.
Locklen just map checking, picking up a lot of information here. And to answer chat real quickly, that was not Ice Rod Cave. That was the cave you get a good B in vanilla. Normally next door to Ice Rod Cave. Somewhat less useful. Though I have to say, Pikapals is very close to being able to get that good B. He has a bug net and a bottle. He only needs boots or Quake.
And Catfish gave us mystery.
I'm going to go on a limb and say it was the Mire.
Oh, you mean since he mirrored right after that? Yeah, that would probably do it. To answer chat, the Moon Pearl was in Mini Helmasaur room. Now we're back in Graveyard Ledge, which we can actually do, and it's junk. Actually, honestly, his hour count is low enough, I probably would have grabbed that.
Yeah, and Mire only reinforces what I really suspect Pikapals is concerned about. Gotta find pod. Gotta find pod. Like, it's... At this point, just with what you've cleared in the world, the odds aren't even bad that is walking into pod will put you into go mode.
Other than the sword.
Yeah,
Or
you need the
sword. There's likely a sword in pod at this point.
Like, pod's the densest location you have left, and you know you have to find it because it's a crystal. I could easily believe sword and thieves big both in there.
And poor Locklen still doesn't have any bosses down.
Locklen will clear swamp on this trip, so that will be his first crystal, but yeah, it's a tough situation when you're down 5 crystals to 0.
Hey, there's Hype Kid. You were saying we hadn't found it yet. First shield.
Yeah, Hype Cave wasn't what would be conventionally considered hype today, but who knows? Maybe we'll find 2 more shields, and then we'll really be able to reflect on where our progression is.
I guess we're going to see what this entrance is. Oh, Mimic Cave. Yeah, and with each of these checks coming up nothing, it does make your pod hypothesis more likely. But I guess at this point you do dig game, you turn in the Smith.
I actually don't know if he does Smith right now. He might just keep going and leave Smith Chain behind. Given that he checked hammer pegs without being ready to pick up purple chest, that kind of points to me that he doesn't want to fool with Smith right now.
You mean if he were going to do it, he would... Well, that opens Mire, if he wants to do that. But...
Yeah, we still don't know the TR medallion, but assuming it's not Ether, you can access every entrance that's not boots locked, and one of the 4 boots entrances you've already come out of as a connector, so you have to feel it's pretty likely it's possible to find Palace of Darkness right now.
Hey! Thieves' Big Key was on Stumpy all along.
Now you're like urgently hunting for pod because, I mean, what are the odds that pod doesn't have any of the remaining 3 swords?
Yeah, and we are truly in sword mode as well as just, you know, needing to find where pod is. And we have no idea what was in Cave 45 there, but apparently not anything interesting.
While Pikapals is choosing to prioritize this area around Palace of Darkness, I think it's a solid play. This is 4 entrances, relatively good density. Wait, did he just... Yeah, go and get the chest in Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah.
You're not in go mode yet, and even if you were, I mean... now you're in walk into pod mode.
Good reason to go back into Ice Rod Cave and get the chest.
Yeah, as long as pod isn't boots or ether locked, Pikapals is in go mode, but pod's location remains a mystery.
With this seed, it could just be vanilla.
Gotta say, that's a pretty annoying place to find a connector. You kind of want to take it because it's pretty likely to lead to the Death Mountain floating island, but you also don't want to leave the pod entrance behind. I would be rolling my eyes at finding that connector as Pikapals.
Why do we need access to Death Mountain floating island at this point?
It's just a much faster way toward the Turtle Rock entrance.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, floating island was just a heart container, so...
Yeah, because the summit of the mountain is... Oh, the summit of Dark Mountain is definitely one of the relatively better places left. I don't think we've been up there at all, so you have TR entrance, you have Hookshot Cave entrance, you have the top of Super Bunny Cave entrance, any of which could contain our missing dungeon. Yeah, Pikapal's going to the Mire area. To him, this is 4 checks. We know that one of these is the laser bridge entrance, and the other on this left ledge is useless. This will get Pikapals' Thieves' Small Key, which will remove all reason for him to avoid going and picking up his 6th crystal.
And at 2:01, Locklen got his first crystal of the game. And maybe pod's in checkerboard location, who knows?
If it's there, I suspect we'll know shortly. Yeah, that's another eye roll moment for Pikapal, seeing Laser Bridge right there. Like, I could have had this small key a while ago. Though it only would be the big eye roll if that were pod at the back of desert. That would be very annoying. Chat still baffled by the mystery of pod small keys being in pod itself. It's just how the dungeon works. We all know that.
So I assume you do yeah, he's going to do Thieves Town now. And you probably full clear it now that you have the small key, just in case you can find Tempered Sword or Silver Arrows or something like that.
I'm just going to throw out there, Pikapals had already seen what's in the Ice Palace entrance. That was just a mistake. Sorry, Pikapals, when you're ahead by that much, I'm going to call you out when you do a dumb like that one.
And Locklen gets crystal number 2 off of Moth there. Which also... What did Moth have as the reward? Nothing.
I think a heart container or something. It was not very good.
Because half magic was on Vitreous and Bo was on Moldorm?
Yeah, something like that. Bo was definitely on Moldorm. But... Oh, Locklen scared me. I thought he was about to fight Vitreous before Moldorm, and that would be a rough decision.
I forgot that they were right next to each other. But yeah, he will be happy to see that bow.
And if I'm Pikapals, I'm opening every chest in Thieves Town here. For one, you might find boots or ether that's required anyway. But just as importantly, a tempered sword or silver arrows, and you save a good chunk on Ganon.
Definitely. It even makes the march through Pod a little easier.
I will say one of the minor mercies of Pod Hunt being the end of this seed is Pod is a 5/6 crystal, so that already tells us one extremely inconvenient entrance that does not contain the Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, given where the bomb shop is on top of Hyrule Castle, you'd basically need to flute from there to, I guess either 4 or 5 and walk it over from a portal.
You just mirror on top of the castle, grab the bomb, and walk into your portal.
Oh, right. I wasn't thinking about, of course, you could just go up the pyramid first and then mirror. But Thieves Town's coming up dry, unless Blind has something. I mean, a crystal, which we need. But other than that...
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal for this dungeon to come up with nothing at this point, given that as long as we can find Pod, we're in go mode. And this dungeon not having anything is kind of further evidence the boots are probably in Pod.
Well, we haven't really seen ice either.
Yeah, that is true. Boots and ice to get into the Pod entrance is an incredibly plausible sequence the seed could still throw at us.
Or even ether and ice if TR entrance is ether and that's where Pod is. And hey, now we have a 4th Pod key and Jack can relax about only having 3 Pod keys.
Chat maybe can relax about the Pod keys, but it's not that easy to relax over the question of where is Pod, because our options only get narrower by the minute. Looks like Pikapals is heading for the summit of the mountain, which is definitely the density play. What does he even have left, though, after this? He has, I think, the Dark World Bumper Cave entrance. I think he still can mirror at the Foothills Cave as well. Oh, that's what he's doing first. Mirror at Foothills Cave, the Dark World Bumper Cave. Summit of the mountain, back a skull. I think that's it, right?
Hey, there's Silvers. Better shape already. That's crazy because feels like 2 hours ago, because it was, that we saw the Bumper Cave exit, and now finally with the mirror we could get through there.
Yeah, especially without tempered swords, silvers are a real nice time save against Ganon. I will say, if we're heading toward Back of Skull, it feels kind of bad when you don't really want to check the chest, but you need to make your way to the back. Instead, we're getting Mimic Cave.
And for all that trouble with the green pendant, it was just a shield.
And a pretty likely useless book to go with it.
I mean, maybe the boots are on a tablet.
Is that your read on this seed?
I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws now.
But yeah,
we're gonna finally see the back of Skull Woods.
Yep, just heading to the Back of Skull. It's one of, I think, 4 entrances remaining. Looks like Pikapals is just rushing to it. Oh man, Troll Woods rears its ugly head.
Getting through is always interesting.
It's honestly mostly just annoying here because of all the extra checking it probably makes you do just to open that entrance.
Oh, and just a tracker note, but that was Vitreous down, not Cold Stare down for Locklen.
And of course, the one drop that does not lead Pikapals to the back is the first one he checks.
Because Skull Woods is always the wrong choice first.
Like, you gotta just imagine, Pikapals is, like, we know he's way, way ahead, to the point that it's getting harder and harder to see Locklen's win conditions, but all Pikapals can see is that it's 2:12 into the race. He just found Hera small key. He doesn't know where the last dungeon is. For all he knows, Dot Dun is coming any moment. He knows he took a real long time to find the sequence through and get into the Dark World. It was a 2-hour Moon Pearl.
Well, there's our ether, so unless Pod is boots locked and boots are in some horrible place, we really just need to find the entrance. Oh, not even checking pad.
Yeah, like, checking ped would be a very marginal play in my opinion, because Desert's a pendant, you don't have Desert Big Key, and if you walk into the front door of Pod, you're in go mode. So, like, what information is Ped going to give you that's going to affect your decision making?
If boots are on it?
Even then, you still are hunting for Desert Big.
True.
And even then, you don't know you need the boots.
I guess, right, you only then start hunting for it if you've exhausted every other entrance.
Yeah, and whether boots are on Ped or not, your next play is surely going into Ice Palace and clearing it out.
Also not pulling Ether Tablet. Now that's a bit more puzzling because that's a pretty quick check, and if that's boots, that's certainly good to know.
Yeah, the Ether Monolith is something I would have been a little more inclined to check in Pikapals' position, but he might be planning to check it when he walks back over to West Death Mountain for Chicken Hut if these 3 entrances whiff. And if these 3 entrances hit, then he has no need.
Hey, and good thing we found that ether.
Oh, yeah, you feel real good about your decision to do back a skull before coming up here when you see ether right here. There's no way around going through Skull without that big key. That's funny, but as a runner, you don't feel bad about it because there's nothing he could have done to avoid that.
Yeah, you just hope, the boots aren't there. Speaking of boots, I guess we don't...
I am really suspecting boots are required now. Do we have any remaining possibilities?
I don't know. And Pika, why wouldn't you pull ether?
And likewise, Chicken Hut's in the Spike Cave entrance, and we still haven't seen what's in there.
Yeah, because we didn't have Moon Pearl at the time. Speaking of Moon Pearl, Locklen is going to climb GT now and get his.
Oh! The classic Southeast Dark World, the shopping mall as some people call it. That is a location we haven't been. Honestly, a little surprising we didn't come here when we checked Catfish, but so it goes.
Not really much in the first 2 here.
Okay, so this connector probably leads to the Death Mountain floating island. I don't think it can lead anywhere that would open new entrances, and yeah, we need boots. Though, hey, if he wants to go back for that ether monolith, this will help him do that.
Oh, there's our last TR small.
That warm, fuzzy feeling that your green pendant that led to a red shield is fully logical. Oh no, just this cave, even less helpful.
But with his flute to 1, maybe now he's finally gonna pull ether and check Chicken Hut for those boots.
Yeah, though you kind of feel bad about making this play that you've already committed against it. Like, I would almost be inclined, I would be inclined in Pikapals' position to just dive into Ice Palace instead of double back up the mountain for 2 items.
I guess with Icebreaker and all the keys, Ice isn't that long a play.
Well, you just had a long walk to pick up a fetch quest.
At least the magic shop was nice and early.
Okay, Pikapals, remembering Chicken Hut and Spike Cave. That's a really easy thing to forget. It's been over an hour.
The Arrow of Destiny.
Yeah, an arrow might seem like a bad find, but remember, with silvers, that could be a quarter of Ganon's health in the last phase. And there's our classic Mire bonk. Pikapals remembering there's a ledge here, but not remembering there's not a cave on it. So if you mirror immediately, you just get Mire bonked in the wall.
And Locklen's so close to that sweet, sweet moon pearl.
Potion shop giving you a 20 rupee coupon on your blue potion. I'm not going to lie, if this were not a tournament race, but still a 1v1 race, there has to be some temptation at 220 you find the Moon Pearl and Upper GT to just go straight to race time and hit forfeit. You know, just, okay, I found it, I'm done now. And as per Pikapal's decision not to fake powder, he's already seen powder on the library, and he knows now that boots lead to pods, so there's no circumstance that Magic Bat has a critical item. The best thing it could have would be another sword, and a sword upgrade would not be worth the amount of time that sequence would take.
Now, Ice Pals, we only saw this first item from Locklen because he then took a death and never came back. And having all the keys, you don't need to worry about the switch, you just keep going. What's going to show up here is Desert Big. Let's be realistic.
What I hope happens is we find Desert Big, we go there, it's like, well, I'll pull pet after this, and then it just drops from Landmalus. Then the credits tell us that pedestal was a sword that we never get. That, I think, would be the single funniest sequence that this seed could still throw at us.
Chat hoping for that fetch quest. Oh yeah, and we do have Hera Basement as a possibility too, now that we finally found that small key.
Hera Basement's already hurt me this tournament. I'm not on the Hera Basement train right now.
Only 3 more checks in ice, though.
See, when you walk into... The funny thing is, from Pikapal's perspective, you feel real bad about your time and still not being in go mode. But when you see it's like, oh, I have to go into ice, you maybe feel a bit better because you're like, the seed's just horrible. I have no reason to believe I'm behind. I know we're both doing everything. I'm confident in my execution, etc. But when ice doesn't have anything, then you go back from feeling bad to feeling real, real bad.
So now what? I guess if Cold Stare drops the Desert Big Key, you go fight Landmos.
Yeah, otherwise, I would be hurrying to the Bombos monolith after this.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. It's a one-off, but at least it's a quick one-off.
Well, I guess you're also pretty close to Skull Big Chest. I think that's a similarly good play. Maybe you want to combo Bombos Monolith with turning in the purple chest. Smith Chain is certainly looming large in this seed as well.
Oh yeah, he never did do that. Even when I was thinking, hey, maybe he should grab the Smith now.
Would like to point out to all our Greg fans who no doubt have plenty of Ocarina of Time randomizer experience, there are 2 green rupees in the item pool and a Link to the Past randomizer. It is the arrow that is the unique find.
Oh yeah, we still haven't seen this second chest.
So, I'm going to disappoint people if this is the answer right here. Smith will disappear when you grab a crystal, so we will not be taking the Smith to Ganon.
So, I mean, not that we needed the Mire small keys, but hey, if we wanted to logically check the left side, we would have had to have gone in there first. Okay, so I guess now you combine Purple Chest with Bombos Check.
Yeah, looks like we're doing Hera Basement now. Combining Hera Basement with turning in Smith, given that Smith's in the Good B entrance, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you're here.
Like, I think people have a natural tendency to overestimate how long Hera Basement takes. It's not slower than GT Tile Room. Everyone checks GT Tile Room when passing through an entrance. Why would you defer this if you're already in the area with the ability to do so?
In fact, it's exactly the same number of tiles. As Locklen grabs that Master Sword of his.
I'm still waiting for Door Randomizer to allow the Turtle Rock Tile Room to become required.
So, remarking to chat, Pyramid Fairy is out of the equation because Pod is one of our 5/6.
Yeah, looks like we're getting Skull Big Chests now. This decision makes a lot of sense to me. Though, given that it's Troll Woods, you're going to grab Skull Big Chest and then have to Mire, Flute to 3, go right back into Dark World. It's all annoying. And honestly, there's still no reason to check Pedestal. If you find Desert Big, you would organically go to Pedestal anyway. It's not worth the time. As much as I know we all love the memes, it's just not a strong play to go check Ped right now.
Except we're here.
I mean, he's doing it anyway. Maybe he's doing it for the memes, but...
You can't pull it. You never finished Desert, and it's just... So it wasn't for the memes. He forgot he didn't have the third pendant.
I think we can all agree that Pikapals made a mistake there, given that he clearly believed he had more pendants than he did.
Incoherent says he's never seen anyone fail to count to 3. Haven't you seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail? Okay,
I thought
so now...
Count to 3 was some sort of joke with the release of the Half-Life series.
So, oh, no, you don't want to do it this way. You want to go there in the dark world so that you can then immediately do bombos.
This is fine, because this is much faster movement. Like, walking through the dark world with purple chest isn't great, especially because this is Boots. He just now skips Bombos Monolith.
Also true. So, first thing, Bonk Rocks northwest of Link's house.
He almost was like,
open these for...
and it's like, come on, dude, it could be Tempered Sword. And then
Right.
and he turned right around. He got rewarded with a lovely Mire shield. Looks like we're going to check Sank Bonk Rocks next. Probably about time neutral, this versus the Bomb Shop Bonk Rocks.
Well, you can combine this then by going over to King's Tomb, so it's 2 checks relatively close to each other.
We've come out of King's Tomb as a connector, though.
Oh, I did not remember that.
Oh, what do you know? Pod's in the very last entrance in the world. Where else would it be?
To answer chat, Boots were on purple chest. Which, of course, is something we could have done a long time ago. What do you know? Pod!
Yeah, and you're opening exactly 1 chest in this dungeon, and that's this one right here. Or,
Not even.
Well, you feel bad about it if it's Tempered Sword, but not that bad because you'll never know. The thing with that Boots location, you feel unhappy because you full cleared Ice Palace, but how unhappy do you really feel? Like, you know the GT climb was required. You can't do Smith Chain without Moon Pearl. So, like, no one's finding the Boots very early in this seed.
And Locklen still doesn't even have the Thieves Town Big.
Yeah, that was just at Stumpy, so that shouldn't be too problematic for him to find in due course.
And welcome to our 69 raiders from ZeldaSpeedRuns. You are just in time to see Pikapals get his 7th crystal. And off we go to Ganon.
You really do have to feel that you have something special on your hands. When you've basically full cleared the world, it's coming up on 235, you're entering the Ganon fight, and somehow it's still going to be a Master Sword Ganon fight.
It was probably Tempered Sword in the bridge chest in Pod. And for all that, we're back to spicy barbacoa burritos.
I'm not going to lie, I have no idea what type of burrito that is. Every time I read that Ganon line, I just think of Barraskewda, which is a Pokemon.
Well, good thing we have red mail here and 16 hearts. Don't really need to worry about things, and I know Pika's sitting on at least one blue goo, so we don't need to worry about magic either.
Yeah, Pika is using the strategy of, the cape to avoid hits and get extra spins in. It's totally valid in a situation like this to use what I like to call red mail strats, which is when Ganon attacks you, just let him hit you, it doesn't matter.
Oh, Locklen didn't want to pick up the smith.
Nothing really completes a very long trolley seed quite like a lot of Ganon warps, does it?
Well, we didn't even need that. Pika didn't get the hit on Ganon's first phase 3 attack.
Yeah, in Pika's defense, that's pretty easy to miss when you're on Master Sword.
Yeah, I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that, he could have spared himself. But hey, Ganon down! Yay! Get your GGs in chat in any case.
Yeah, assuming we have no bridge-related accidents, this is the end of Pika's run.
With an official race time of 2:37:31.
I'm going to throw out some speculation. I don't think Pikapals has had a 2:37:31 Crosskey seed in quite a while. And he's probably even more surprised to get a time like that and win. And it looks like we're going to be joined by Pikapals shortly. GG, Pikapals.
If you're talking, we can't hear you.
Hey, sorry, my headphones were set up wrong.
Oh, there you are.
So, Pikapals, before this race started, if we told you you were going to take 2 hours, 37 minutes and you were going to win, what would you have thought?
I was going to worry what the seed was. I would have
not very nice.
For sure. I would have at least thought I would, have like a butter sword, probably. not be in entrance go mode almost, look with spider sword still.
What was just the feeling deep inside when you full cleared Ice Palace and got absolutely nothing?
I was, after I finally finished my Death Mountain checks, I was just thinking, man, I wonder which entrance I skipped today. I'm sure it's one of them.
Oh, see, I guess you had to have that worry, did I make a mistake? We knew you didn't. We just knew it was Boots. And we were like, there's not very many places those Boots can be remaining.
Yeah, that was honestly what had me even more worried, was that I only had like 4 checks left in the game before Boots were just in pod somewhere.
What else did you at the point you found Boots other than the Bombos monolith?
I think Bombos was the only thing I could think of at that point.
Yeah, because I think that was actually last location. I mean, you could have found the shovel or the Desert Big, but that was it.
Look at my notes and the map if the Boots were not.
Yeah, well, at least the Desert Big Key never showed up, so you didn't have to worry about being able to accidentally pull Ped when you tried.
It's true, I sure did forget the desert existed when I wanted to pull Ped for my Boots.
Yeah, there's just so much happening in this seed. Like, I noticed you seem to really, like, were you on the same line of thinking I was, relatively, as soon as you could climb GT, Moon Pearl's almost definitely up there, but you were just trying to do the seed Pearless?
Yeah, pretty much. I thought it'd be funny if the Pearless seed actually happened, even though I was like 99% sure after getting the Swamp Small that GT was just the answer.
Yeah, because if you had, like, the thinking I had there, because, I mean, I probably would have climbed GT a lot faster, just like, oh, I'm going to need Pearl anyway, but as I watched what you were doing, I was like, if Pod's just in the Mire region, then it's entirely, like, Pearless was plausible.
Yeah, pretty much. Though, unfortunately, at Thieves Town, Big Key on Stumpy kind of ruined it anyway.
Yeah, that ruined it. Pod ruined a lot of dreams.
It shouldn't have held like 2 swords in it, I think, is the moral of the story.
For all we know, the swords were on Bombos Monolith and Landmalus.
Well, I guess those are the other 2 options.
I guess credits told us whether they were in the dig spot. I wasn't paying attention to it.
Oh, yeah, neither was I.
It said something about Key Boy. So maybe that was Desert Big.
Like, yeah, it actually had to be a Pod Small, didn't it?
Could have been Desert Big unless Big Key would be a different message.
I wrote that code. I don't remember.
Yeah. I can't... My key tracking always stops happening as soon as I get close to go mode, so I have no idea if I actually found the last Turtle Rock or GT Small.
Yeah, our tracker says you have all the GT keys and 3 of the 4 TR keys, but...
I remember him finding the 4th TR key.
I really don't know. It's not actually important. I don't think anyone's going to lose any sleep over their number of Turtle Rock small keys.
No, not tonight. I tried my best to lose all the sleep I could. Last entrance locationing pod.
I wonder what entrances were behind the Super Bomb and in the GT entrance. If it's some random single item cave we weren't thinking of, that could be a sword. Magic Bat could be a sword.
Yeah. that could be a sword now that I have the boots to get the powder out of the library.
Hey, you could have chosen to throw away logically useless time and gone and fake powdered with that mushroom.
I guess that's true. But yeah, I couldn't have the boots, so I didn't care enough.
Speaking of logic and sequence breaking, sort of a big thing for a lot of the mid-game we were seeing was that GT small key and the glove both being behind the lamp, that the lamp wasn't found for a real long time. I'm guessing you were just like, got a bunny walk to some annoying lamp location, let's try to just skip that.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, well, I know this glove is out of logic because Entrance doesn't have Fire Rod logic, and I don't even think Standard has Fire Rod logic to the far back. But yeah, it was just like, it's a lamp, I don't care, so let's just keep pretending it's in logic for now.
Yeah, and the thing that made it spicy was one of your 3 GT keys was in that room, so that was actually the more critical path there because that was what led to the hammer.
Yeah. Because, yeah, after I finally made it back to Paradox Cave, which I would have done the first time if I had, more than one heart going in, but it's impossible to get past those mold arms without taking a hit, I'm pretty sure, so.
I think it's possible, but you need really good RNG.
Yeah, I'm not expecting anything good to come from mini mold arms.
It's not something you can make happen by playing better. You have to get lucky.
Yeah. But yeah, finding the big key to Misery Mire and the Cane of Samaria back there, right next to each other, right after almost full clearing Misery Mire was kind of felt bad, but at least I figured the seed wouldn't be mean enough to make me go back to Vitreous because I couldn't kill it anyway.
Speaking of feels bad, what was your feeling about finding Ether in the Turtle Rock entrance, getting rewarded in a sense because it was actually Tiara Medallion, and then immediately finding Skull Big Key?
Yeah, I was really hoping it would be like the boots, because that would have been big if it was like, oh, I managed to accidentally put off going to the Turtle Rock entrance until I had the medallion for it. But, just more useless items I had to go back and run through Skull Woods again to check.
I just, for my part, I really appreciated the you will not get out of doing Troll Woods twice if you want to learn what's in this big chest sequence, the seed just imposed upon both of you.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, but I do remember having a practice seed that was, I believe it was Turtle Rock Medallion in first chest of Swamp Palace, and then small key to Swamp Palace in the Turtle Rock entrance. That one was just actually mean.
Well, actually mean was kind of the theme of this seed as a whole. Your opponent right now is, I don't know if he knows it, but he's really just hunting for boots. He just needs to go do Smith Chain.
Well, he already took the Smith. I didn't see if he returned the Smith, but I assume so because he didn't have the Smith when he then went into a dungeon. So he just needs to do the purple chest now.
Yeah, but who wants to do Smith Chain when you're in entrance go mode?
Yeah, it's interesting. Locklen doesn't have the Mire yet, but as it turns out, you don't need the Mire for anything this seed. All it does is let you check a bunch of stuff and get nothing for it.
Yeah. I guess it would have made Turtle Rock faster, but that would require me to actually have gotten the pearl, so...
This seed had so many feels bad moments, like when you found the Thieves small key and the Laser Bridge entrance right there after not checking where Laser Bridge spits you out.
Yeah.
I totally understand why you didn't. Like, just how bad it would have been if you'd like walked out of GT there.
Yeah, pretty much. I had no idea what Turtle Rock was, if it was a crystal or a pendant. I guess it was like 1 in 4 it was a crystal at that point, but I didn't want to take that chance anyway. And then, yeah, it's just like, I was actually going to feel really bad if Pod was just in the desert back.
I noted that at the time. Like, the real feels bad as if Pod is in desert back.
Yeah.
But then again, there would be the offsetting pain there of you needed Pearl anyway for Thieves Big.
That's true. It still would have ended up at least gill moding Pod.
Yeah, Ganon did some really good work designing all the item locations in this seed.
He did. I was just disappointed by the lack of interesting connectors in the light world.
I think the connectors did a little bit of their job here. Like, that connector, reducing the odds you needed boots, further encouraging you to be in go mode, and making you double back for more bunny walking later, as that turned out to be the critical sequence. That was a really good connector there.
Yeah, it did a really good job. He definitely planned this to make you want to ignore boots for as long as humanly possible.
But yeah, looks like Locklen's heading over to Catfish, about to get his Mire. Unfortunate, because we know it's going to lead him around the world checking a bunch of entrances, which are going to give him really nothing but a hard time.
Yep, there's going to be a 0 chance you ever do purple chest before checking the like 5 mirror entrances that could all be Pod.
Yeah, and it just wouldn't be smart, especially with your knowledge that one of the 4 boots entrances is dead.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Locklen getting his mirror. Not that that really gets him any closer to boots.
Yeah, this is just a very unkind seed. And you both made a lot of similar decisions that effectively made it as rough as possible, where, you know, you both took a really long time to end up being able to get that hammer, because you both took a really long time to go through Paradox Cave. Then you both put off the GT climb as long as you could have, and of course that's where the Pearl was. And they were totally reasonable decisions. You guys just... The seed was punishing.
Yeah, pretty much. I definitely didn't want to go through Paradox, all the work to get back to Paradox Cave, just for the off chance that maybe that last entrance is a Light World one. And then GT, it probably would have been smarter to climb early, but, you know, it's way funnier to think it's just a Pearlless possible seed.
I mean, if you really look at what you did, I don't know that putting off the climb hurt you that much, because, like, your first priority was clearing a bunch of crystals, and, well, whether you had Pearl or not, that didn't really change that work. Then you were just checking if Pod was available, and you had to hunt all the entrances for Pod anyway, and if Pod had been available, it would have been very, very plausible that you could have found Thieves Big and a sword in there. The odds that a sword's in there are very high right now.
Yeah, they're, I think it might be 100% that something at least leading to a sword is in there. Well, I guess it's minuscule that something leading to a sword isn't in there.
Yeah, I think the only scenario it's not is if both swords are in or directly blocked behind Bombos Monolith and Magic Bat, which I mean,
Yeah,
that
pretty much.
could happen. It's possible.
It is 2 locations that could theoretically both have a sword.
Of course, you only had 3 pod small keys at the time, so for all you know, like the vanilla big key chest was the sword. Because of course, those sort of things can happen too.
Yeah, usually it's just whichever chest you don't check in pod has progression, but I'm sure it'd be a sword in this seed.
Oh, but we all know that that chest on the bridge you walked right past is actually the sword.
Yeah, as soon as I jumped off the ledge,
you were like, "Goodbye, tempered sword."
Pretty much. As soon as I jumped off the ledge, I was like, man, I probably should have opened that for my tempered sword, huh? Well... The also funny thing was, I almost walked out of the Ice Rod cave entrance because I was like, I don't need items anymore.
Yeah, you did walk out
that.
You of it real quickly.
I was like, I just need to find pod. This is fine.
I was actually a little surprised after checking the summit of the Dark Mountain you didn't walk over and check Ether Monolith and the Chicken Hut, but I guess you're like, you know, there's no way the seed's going to troll so much and not just put pod in Chopping Mall, right?
Yeah. I was strongly considering when I was going to be doing those, so I just decided I'll just, you know, check all this other stuff first, check all these entrances first, and then resign myself to the fact that pod is just in Bonk Rock somewhere.
And once you knew pod was in Bonk Rocks, you knew it didn't matter what order you checked them. You knew it was in the third one.
Yeah, of course. It always is.
Every time Locklen goes back to Vu, I start thinking, is he going to do purple chest? Is he going to do purple chest? But no.
Oh, gotta check Minute Cave.
So given that, we should probably
Surely
think
it's
about...
pod.
We should probably think about calling this a wrap and raiding him.
Oh man, he doesn't have green pendant to get his shield. This is going to seriously inhibit Locklen's ability to bring the Mire shield into the Ganon fight.
That's true.
But yeah, I think we're about ready to raid Locklen. Definitely be encouraging, but it is still a tournament race, even with the result decided. Please do not drop any spoilers on him. Let him finish the seed with dignity. And I will catch you guys later.